Okay, it's going to be part 2 on refurbishing the Model 200A Black Band. Last video we got it completely stripped down except for the cap gasket, which we're going to start that right now. These have the 3-piece fuel cap on it. It's the outer part, the inner part, and the screw. It's considered 3 pieces. Actually 4 if you count the gasket, but it's called a 3-piece. And the best way to take that 3-piece cap apart is tighten the cap all the way down, as tight as you can. And then just turn the screw out. Depending on how seized it is, sometimes you might have to go back and tighten that cap back down again about halfway through and turn it out again. This one came out pretty good. Now you can remove the gasket or the cap. Take that screw, set back in there, and push it through with my thumb. That pushed out the inner piece. Okay, there's the inner piece. See, it's got a lot of rust on that. We'll have to inspect the inside of that tank if we can. See how hard that gasket is. Gasket still feels kind of like it's kind of soft, but watching it, I got plenty of gasket skulls. Go ahead and replace it. Best way to get that out is to burn it out with a torch. Okay, you got to watch when you take these gaskets out. This happened on this one. It's the second one I've found like that. But the reason that gasket was still pliable for the age of this lantern is because somebody had slipped another gasket over top of it. And that what I done on video was remove that top gasket. I burned it off. And but it had another one underneath there. And the longer these things are in these caps, the harder those gaskets will get, and they will turn just like a hard rock, carbon-like. And so I burnt and took my picks and dug down in there, and like I never got all that old hard gasket out of the bottom of there. But we finally got it, and now the other one will be simple enough to put back in. I always start out with a little oil on my gasket. Start it on there by hand. You need to make sure you remove all that grit out of there from that old gasket. Looks like it's seated pretty well, but we'll take this pick. I'll use that round part of the back, and I will just push that right down in there to seat that gasket. Just keep turning it all the way around. Go. Just always watch it and make sure that seat's flush all the way around, because sometimes that gasket will want to twist with you, and it twists in there sideways and cause it to leak. So you'll just double check and make sure it's flush all the way around, make sure all sides went down. I think we're good on that one. Push the center piece back up in there and thread that screw right in there. Tighten your screw. Cap gasket's done. Okay, now for the stinky part. Oh, vinegar is getting kind of dark, but I've used it several times. It's still good. Okay, I've never removed the red paint off the lantern before, off the 200As. Done several green ones. And some of them green ones, the whatever paint they use, it just will not come off with a regular paint remover. But then some other lanterns it just peels off. I mean, so but the ones that I've finished that you couldn't bring it off with regular paint remover, I had to use this aircraft paint remover, and it done the trick. So we're just going to go ahead and use it on this red one, just be on the safe side. That way we won't have to waste no more paint remover. Just do it once, be done with it. Okay, as you can see, the paint remover is really doing its job. This stuff is wrinkling up there. It's coming off there really well. I'm tickled on how fast it's coming off there. But we're going to let it set just a little bit longer, and then we'll take that brass brush again and scrub all that off there. Okay, off camera, I took this outside and rinsed all that paint remover off of it. Still a few little spots. It's kind of thin, it didn't come off, and I'm going to find something to get down in there, but I'm not really worried about that as long as I get it smooth. But as you can see, it's a good thing I pulled that paint off there, because there was a lot of surface rust underneath that paint. It's not as bad as what it looks. I mean, all the dark spots, but it's just surface rust. So I'll be able to sand most of this off and make it look good again. Okay, she's cleaned up pretty well. She's ready for some primer. Okay, off camera, I do some work on it. As you can see, it already started doing some flash rust there. Prevent that, I mean, you have to soon as you take this out of the vinegar bath and get the rust off of it, as soon as it dries, immediately you have to spray it, heat it with a torch and spray it with oil. And if not, the flash rust will set in immediately. And it started to. I mean, you can see all the dark red places in there where it started to flash rust. But I had to stop and I heated it up and I couldn't find my oil, so I didn't get it on camera. But I did heat it up and wipe it down with some oil that I had. I couldn't find any spray. And so it's getting late, I'm getting tired, and but I think I've stopped the rust from getting any worse. But I'm gonna call it quit for tonight. Like I said, it's getting really late. I'm tired. So video's getting long anyway. So yeah, y'all know the routine. Like, share, subscribe. God bless.